name is Carlos. I'm a facilitator in our community outreach program here at Free Minds. And again, I want to welcome you again to our Free Minds on the Same Page Right Night, a mutual exchange of hope and healing between incarcerated poets and the community. Tonight is a special night as we are just days away from Youth Justice Action Month in October. We'll be hearing from one of our youth poets, Keontae, to kick us off in just a few minutes. I want to extend a warm welcome to our returning night writers and to any new volunteers that are here for the first night tonight. We also have Free Minds members who are home in the community joining us. Please post in the chat where you're joining us from and if this is your first right night. And if you have attended before, please also let us know. Also, make sure that when you leave a comment that you click on everyone. That way we could all see the comments that you leave in the box. Our incarcerated poets will be thrilled to know how many community members are supporting them and what cities and state they are and countries they are joining us from. Here's how it's going to go tonight. Again, Keontae will start us with a poem. Then we will have a conversation with poet ambassador Johnisha and Warnell. And we will have a chance to answer any of your questions until about 7:25 Eastern. Please put any questions you have in the chat or in the Q&A box below at any time. Then we will share some quick tips on how to use our platform Miro and to so you could give poetry feedback, and then we will all be joining on the same page. Now we will get things started with Keontae in solidarity with all youth in the criminal legal system. We envision a world where no child is in prison and has all the support to thrive. Free Minds member Keontae is making a change happen. When he isn't working at a fast-paced restaurant, he devotes his time to his own nonprofit, We Are the Streets Foundation, and working with Free Minds in our community outreach program, as well as serving as an advocate at our coalition Thrive Under 25. Take it away, Keontae.
How y'all doing, man? I can't even lie and say that this is a regular right night, man. I feel so happy to be. I'm definitely honored and I'm blessed. I'm super excited to share this poem that I have for y'all, man. Okay. Oh, this one's called Essence, right? I can't really remember when I wrote it. Matter of fact, it was actually around Black History Month, actually.
Mhm.
Back you know, in February, and it was pretty much off the top, It was kind of just freestyled and it just came out the way it came out. I didn't have to do too much editing to it, nothing like that. It just came out the way it was, and I really appreciate it for what it is. And I hope y'all appreciate what I'm saying here too. So I said, we are the streets, we are the culture, we are the people. Who are you to verify if someone else isn't equal? Who remembers the Emancipation Proclamation? Who remembers the March on Washington? Who remembers the Panther Party? I had a dream too before it was discarded. Because who knows about the Tulsa Massacre? Who knows about Seneca Village? Who is the original Statue of Liberty? They changed it so they could keep it hidden. Who knows about Bloody Sunday? Who knows about the Parchment Farm? Are you a follower of John Lewis with the heart of a solder? Are you a follower of John Lewis with the heart of a solder? Are you devoted like Wilson was, finding yourself would take you farther than trying to ride a wave just to drown in that water? You are the voice. You are the soul. You are the essence.
Beautiful.
Wow, thank you so much, Keontae. That is such a powerful poem. I know I've heard it before, but it definitely is so impactful every time you recite it. And I think I speak for everyone and just saying thank you. And, you're making such a big impact in the community. So thank you so much. I know that you're a very busy guy, so appreciate you joining us tonight. For everyone else joining us, you can read the rest of this amazing poem on our Miro boards after our conversation. This is just an excerpt of that poem. So thank you again, Keontae. Super grateful for you.
Thank y'all for having me.
Yeah, thank you. So now I want to introduce you all to two other amazing Free Minds members who are also very passionate about using their voices to bring about change. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce those lovely folks. So Johnisha is a Free Minds Poet Ambassador who joined the Prison Book Club in 2021. She was incarcerated at the age of 24 and released under the Incarceration Reduction Amendment Act, also known as IRA, in 2023 after serving 17 years in the federal prison system. While incarcerated, Johnisha shared her prolific poetry and artwork with Free Minds. She is also an avid reader and enjoys a variety of genres, including fantasy, mystery, and romance. She was recently released from probation after only 18 months, which is a huge feat because of the work she's been doing in the community sharing her story. Janisha was recently accepted into the Georgetown Pivot Program, a professional development program for career-oriented individuals who have previously been incarcerated. Now I'll introduce our next amazing poet ambassador. So Warnell is a Free Minds Poet Ambassador who joined our prison book club in 2022. Warnell was incarcerated in 2001 and was released in February of this past year, the recipient of the Incarceration Reduction Amendment Act. While incarcerated, Warnell was an avid reader and wrote poetry in addition to a book about his own life. Warnell continues to write and is currently working towards earning his Bachelor's of Science degree in health management, in addition to working two jobs. He hopes to own a sugar-free candy shop in the future and work as a registered nurse or helping others in the medical field in another capacity. Now I will pass it to Carlos and Warnell.
Thank you, Sophia, and thank you to both poet ambassadors for being here tonight. Definitely, Warnell, let me welcome you home. February, that's like right, it's still fresh, so I definitely still want to welcome you home and thank you for being here with us tonight. I know it's been a while since we've been here, so let's kick this off with a poem, Warnell. Um, a poem titled "Waiting." If you could start us off by reading that poem.
Uh, First, I'd like to say thank you for having me here. I like to share this poem, and it's called "Waiting" by Duane, aka Wayne Wayne, and it goes like I'm waiting for a decision from the judge, which could come any day. I feel like it's been longer than 31 and a half years, more like forever and a day. But my lawyers tell me my time is near, but I wonder if she's been real or just faking. I wish my time would come on then, because damn, I'm tired of waiting. It seems I've been waiting all my life. Let's get these wheels in motion. It's like waiting for a ship to sail, even though it's not in the ocean. But I can tell my time is coming. I can feel it in my bones. I just got to wait a little longer, because by patiently waiting, I'll make it home. So I'll wait.
Mm. Powerful poem, and thank you for putting a voice to that. Definitely a powerful poem. It sticks out to me. It's like, waiting on a ship to sail, even though, it's not in the ocean. That to me, like, says so much. And I know you can relate to it because you were incarcerated at a young age, just like Dwayne, right? Like when you was a teenager. And that experience of waiting for a sentence of reduction through the Incarceration Reduction Amendment Act, which is what the author of the poem is waiting on. What Let me ask you something, Warnell. What role did reading and writing play for you while you were dealing with these experiences?
It played a part as me being humble to myself and knowing my vision of what I wanted to see in life and how I wanted to present myself to other people. So, I mean, my mother, she took up poetry. So I just think that it was just embedded into me to continue to write, and maybe my words can help others.
I like that. Beautifully said. And since we're talking about helping others, like in what way do you feel like you're giving back to your youth right now, or what are you planning to do in the future?
Um, well, like they said in my bio, I'm planning to open up a sugar-free candy business, no sugar. Um, I'm also planning to get my bachelor of science in health management. Working in the field of, you know, also trying to implement people health and, try to make people see what they put inside their bodies and how they, just good things. And also to the youth is I'm trying to, show them that it's a better way than, whatever doing in your life. So, each day I go to work and like I say, I work for Metro. So I see a lot of youth and I try to talk to them and give them good advice and, and then I share my ideas. And like I say, maybe I might can bump into somebody that can give me more ideas and we can go from there.
Like that. Just spreading that knowledge, spreading just just love and care for the community in that way. And I like how you said that. You also you just now mentioned your mother, which is a poem that we're about to read now. You want to tell us a little bit about the poem, the significance behind it?
Uh, the poem that is titled that I wrote is called Mother.
Hmm.
Because everyone has a mother because this is why we all here. And my mother got killed in Washington, D.C. about 7 years ago. I talked to my mother that morning. I was incarcerated and I was coming off the rec yard and I talked to my mother when she went to church and when she came out of church, she got killed. So it kind of touched me because she was with me fighting for all these years trying to get me home. And, now I'm home and she don't even get to see me. So I told myself, even though I can't come to the funeral, I just write her this poem and maybe she can hear it that way. And it's titled Mother. Um, and this is what I wrote. She brought me into this world and gave me her love and grace. She told me she will always keep me from evil and keep me safe. My mother always knew from right and wrong. She gave me peace and happiness, and her love made me and my brother strong. I would never have seen her eyes close before me, but when Allah calls you home, he say, let that be. My mother has always been my backbone, and she has always been my rock. I love her so much, and that would never ever stop. And I say, rest in peace to my mother, which is Betty Downs. She was born 12/30/54, and her sunset February 28th, 16, a day before my brother's birthday. So I had to write that for her. So,
Man, beautiful poem, Warnell. Thank you for
Mhm.
sharing that. Thank you for your
Mhm.
transparency. Thank you for
Mhm.
being here with us today. And I'm gonna pass it now to Sophia so she could talk to Jonisha with us.
Thank you again, Warnell, for being so vulnerable. I mean, I know you can't see the chat right now, but you're getting lots of love, lots of support in the chat. Also, a lot of future customers for your future candy shop. So, now I will pass it to Johnisha. We'll have a little discussion. So, Johnisha, I was wondering if you could read this poem from one of our members who's currently incarcerated, Joshua, called Freedom.
Sure thing. Freedom is the most beautiful thing I took for granted. She was once in my life, but then she vanished. I ended in a cell, cold and lonely. I felt stranded, feeling like, what happened? Yearning for her return. Please come back. Like a wheel without air, I fell flat. Seconds and minutes without her touch. Days and weeks and still no luck. Month after month, they turn into years. Um, I'm sorry. Can you go back down? I can't see. Thank you. Month after month, they turn into years. I called your name, but you ain't here. How you pop up on me so close and so near. I swear it's scary and I'm hard to fear. Your light so bright, like a chandelier. No longer dark. I see your spark. Take you for granted, never again. They want you again. They're gonna need more than chains.
Thank you so much, Janisha. Such a beautiful reading. I was wondering if you could share with us a little bit about like what from that poem sticks out to you, what kind of resonates with you from that.
Well, during my incarceration, I often had moments where I sat in a dark and lonely cell wondering what happened. So,
Hmm.
a lot of these words definitely resonate. And I just, remember the days ticking by and wondering, especially like closer to my time when I got, toward the end of my time. I just remember often days I would just stay in my room. Like I wouldn't even go out because I just didn't want to be in the way. I didn't want to, get in no trouble. I didn't want nobody to. So I've often had my dreams of freedom. So that poem definitely resonates on more than one level. Not only that, like I was saying, like you can be oppressed and in bondage in your head, and it's mental that you need freedom from. There's also, then the physical freedom, and there's just freedom from so many different levels of things that can keep you down. And I've had all of those aspects happen to me before. So I'm just grateful for actual literal freedom
Right.
in every sense of the word. And you know, God is still working on me, and I'm a work in progress every day, but I'm not where I was yesterday, and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things that stuck out to me from what you were just saying is like how freedom isn't just a physical thing, like it's also we can be not free in like the mental or, other non-physical ways. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about like how writing and reading, and I know you're also a visual artist, how those kind of avenues have helped you find freedom, not just in, the physical aspects, but also like the mental aspects.
Sure. I use my art as a form of therapy, even in my day-to-day basis. I was speak to my therapist, and she was trying to figure out some ways for me to cope in my most overwhelming times, or when times when I'm actually having a breakdown. And I told her, like, if I can just get to my art, like if I can just get to my painting, or if I can just, pick up a pen and just release those negative emotions, then that would be helpful. So she kind of showed me ways. I set up a little art studio in my apartment, and
I see
I
some of
have a
your art in the
couple things.
background.
Yeah, so my little table, it's a little messy, but I have my little stuff everywhere, and
Yes.
that's a couple of pieces of my art. If you guys can see, something that's still working on my little Jesus notebook um, that I did, and she it helped me so much because I've been going through some things, and even when my breakdowns happen, I literally just come over here and I go to work, or I literally just sit down and pick up my pen and I start writing a poem. And so, and it's so freeing, you know what I'm saying? It just gives you all the emotional release that you need, honestly. And it gives you an opportunity to channel it in a productive way, instead of doing something harmful or toxic, or finding old things that I used to do. I don't do stuff like that no more. So I'm just so grateful for the therapy in art, and just creating nice pieces and just something beautiful to look at. It just gives me all the freedom that I need.
Yes, definitely. And I know that it also touches others too, which, I think is really beautiful. So, definitely more to discuss. I was wondering if you could read a poem that you wrote called When I Fall.
Yes. This is When I Fall by J Knight. My art name is Empress, for those of you all that don't know. There are so many levels to the word fall. I've tried to find ways to explain them all. Autumn is my favorite season. Using the word fall sometimes seems like treason. It's such an easy way to say something that feels so beautiful. Cool, crisp winds, fresh air that's so plentiful. It often makes me want to fall asleep. Listening to trees and the breeze puts me in so deep. Speaking of so deep, what about how we fall in love? That phrase always stumps me. It makes me wonder. And then I shrug. When you fall, the first thought is that it hurts. It's painful, just like love is when you realize it's not going to work. To think it all started out with a smile because you're a flirt. So you fall back, and then you're back on once again. When is this cycle ever going to come to an end? Now you're careful, fully aware you won't ever fall through the cracks again. All it took is one time. Now you're back on the right track. And you can also chill out and cut the next one some slack. The
Amazing.
end.
And then I know you also have some artwork that went with this
Oh,
piece
yeah.
that you shared with us. while you were
This is my little artwork. It's some abstract painting. I was, I think this is probably like my first or second abstract piece. Because I can only paint things that I see. I'm not one of those visual artists that can just pop stuff out of their head and just make a masterpiece. You know, I see things and I like to recreate it, maybe put a spin on it. But this kind of, now that I'm actually, this is the first time I actually looking at it on a computer like this, because this rock looks like a face and that is creeping me out. I don't know if you guys can see that, but anyway, this is my little piece. That just made it so much. That was dope. But anyway, that was my first little abstract piece. And this goes with the poem When I Fall. She's falling.
Yes, and it's such a beautiful poem, and I love like your creativity and how you play on the word fall. Like, there's so many different meanings to it. Um, I guess one question I have for you is, you talked a little bit about how poetry for you has helped with your own healing journey and like your visual art as well. But how have you also, I know you've also been doing other work in the community, like how have you been using it to help others, to help youth, and reach the community?
So I currently work with two different youth groups in Ward 7 and 8. And what we do, we go meet up with them, the TRAP kids. It stands for Teaching Rambunctious Adolescents Peaceful Positude. And they go to Ballou Senior High School. Majority of them are 10th, 11th grade and seniors. And they come over after school, they do their homework, we meet up with them, we do a check-in with them on their feelings, see how they're feeling in the day, see what their school day was like. And we also have activities. They always have snacks, and we order like pizza or something like that, and then we'll do a healing circle. And then they also have the art side. Some of them branch off, they want to play chess or they want to, do a different activity. Well, the art section of it is where I come in. I am getting ready, actually implementing a 6 to 8 week acrylic art, beginners acrylic art class. Just give them some canvases. We may do some starting off like painting by number, but by the end of the course, my goal is to show them, the different ways that they can paint, just different avenues, layering from top to bottom, back to forward, little technical things like that. And just for them to have fun and just for me to spend time with them babies because I love them so much. But we do healing circles, and I facilitate those art classes as well.
Yeah, I was wondering if you could just kind of quickly like share with the audience like what a healing circle is. Like you don't have to go into the nitty-gritty weeds, but just kind of like a general overview of like what that means.
So what it looks like is it's just basically we have a centerpiece, maybe a rug or something in the middle of the floor with sometimes depending on the age, we have a microphone for the person who's holding the stick. Be respectful. They have the wand, they have the floor. And basically just something pretty centered in the middle of the floor. We go around and do a check-in, basically ask them how their feelings are on a scale from 1 to 10. Everybody gets to share, no judgment. We ask, maybe what situation this week that was challenging, and everybody just kind of goes around. Then we'll do a think, feel, do cycle, which is with cognitive behavioral theory. My cat is up here messing with my stuff. I'm sorry. But what that is we just basically break the situation down for what it looks like, the factual part of it. We talk about what we're thinking about in that moment, what we're feeling in that moment. And we try to use the feelings wheel so we won't get so many generalized answers like, oh, I'm good. Oh, we're fine. And, things like that. So we actually have them to hone in on their feelings. And then, so think, feel, do cycle. Then we ask them what it was that they did in the situation. Did they see a better outcome? Perhaps. And if not, then we just move on. And so that's like the beginning part of the circle. And like the last half of the circle, we pick a topic to talk about. The last topic I picked was pretty cool. It was ego, pride, self-reputation, self-image, bullying, and things like that. So we just kind of threw ideas on the flip chart, talked about it. And it was just real fun. Them girls sitting there, they come in there and they got their little chip on their shoulders. And then by the time it's over with, they're like, oh, okay, we'll be back next week. So as long as we're reaching one, as long as they're still coming, we're doing something good. And that's just primarily what a healing circle consists of. Confidentiality, everything stays there. And it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. I know I have so many things I could ask you, but one thing I do want to say, echo this from the chat. Jarrell said you're a very valuable asset to our community, and I 1000% agree with that.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you so
you.
much for sharing and reading your poetry as well as uplifting Joshua's. And yeah, I will now pass it to Carlos for a question to both of you.
Yeah, amazing artists, amazing work that you guys do, and thank you so much for sharing all that with us tonight. Um, Question for both of you, and I'm gonna start with Warnell first. Let me ask you, we're about to go into another important part, which is where the community gives feedback to the poetry.
Mhm.
First, let me ask you, how important is it to receive mail while inside to you?
Wow. Why inside?
Mhm.
Man, that's like winning the lotto, you know? I mean, from family, friends, it's just you're connected to the world. And if you can just like every day mail comes like after, they got to count. So
Mhm.
just to see your name posted up, man, it's very important to know that somebody still loves you. And that's the most important thing.
Thank you. And again, we're about to go into the poetry feedback, and with us is a lot of new Right Now volunteers
Mhm.
that are about to give feedback. What advice do you have for them, or tips?
Uh, just be yourself.
Mhm.
Just if you want to write to anybody and with good advice, just be yourself. Just tell them, just tell them this is what it is, and I understand, and don't bend the lines. Make sure the lines is always straight because when I was getting feedback off my poem, just like I had a poem that I wrote, and
Mhm.
I was skeptical of sending stuff out because I was like, man, I don't want to get nobody say they this, that. But a young girl wrote me, and she was I think about 11, 12, and she wrote me, her mother wrote me, and she said, one of my poems stopped her from taking her life. So
Mhm.
that right there made me wanted to go further in what I was doing because it's and I tell people just you be yourself and people gonna on the inside they're gonna give you what they is. So that's the best advice I can give you. Just be yourself.
Yeah, that's powerful. That's powerful, and the power of words, and how it is used. Like you just said, you never know who it would touch. And again, thank you for sharing your words with us. Jenny, same questions to you. First, how important is it to receive mail while inside?
Mail for me is exactly what Warnell said. It was real happy times to see your name on a list. The officers that did it right, they put the list up. They didn't
Mhm.
call your names. That just caused too much anxiety. You can't hear the people yelling. It's too much going on. When they put that name up there, that everybody can see that you got called. So it is very uplifting. I'll say that to get mail and just like you said, to know that you're connected and to know that somebody cares. Somebody's thinking about you, even if it's an advertisement or
Mhm.
something from saying the CIC, DC, they'll come through with those CIC envelopes once in a blue moon. You knew you was gonna get something. Um, it was most lovely getting mail from Freeminds, though. I might say that because then they gave me homework. They gave me something to do, gave me that drive to go ahead and keep
That
doing what I'm doing.
motivation, that
So
push, right? Yeah.
yes, yes.
And again, we have a few folks that are with us here for the first time tonight. What tips or advice do you have for them?
Tips for writing or
No, the people that are about to give the poetry feedback tonight to those that
oh,
members that send it in. What tips and advice do you have for them as they give the feedback?
um be honest,
Mhm.
but keep in mind where they are. Uh, we a little sensitive inside. But definitely be honest and your opinion matters. Like your thoughts matter to us. Like I remember crying, receiving just comments from strangers like good job. Like that stuff matters to us. So I would just say be as transparent and honest. Don't put no too personal information in there. Just keep things general. And yeah, that's all I can say. Honesty is the best policy. Don't give up too much information. Keep in mind sensitivity levels. And yeah, that's all I got.
Thank you, Nisha. That's a lot, and that definitely helpful to our uh, new night writers. Sophia.
Yeah, thank you again, Warnell and Johnisha. I know Carlos and I could probably sit here and talk to you both for hours and hours and hours, but I want to give the attendees a chance to have their questions as well. So I think we probably have time for like one or two questions. I do see we already have a question in the question and answer function and in the chat, but if anyone else wants to leave a question, now is the time to do so. So the first question we have is, are there any poets or other writers or artists who have been really meaningful for you on your journey? Um, do either of you want to go first? Go ahead, Warner.
Oh, she can go first if you want to go ahead.
No, I didn't
Well,
know if it was specified or not. It doesn't
yeah,
matter.
that's what I say.
I will have to hear the question again though. Kind of
No
in and out. I'm sorry.
worries. So the question was, are there any poets or writers or other artists who have been really meaningful for you on your journey?
Oh yes. So I've read a lot of books while I was inside. Um, I love oh gosh, I love a whole bunch of different authors. And from the urban sector, I'll say Ashley and Jaquavis. They have been a really good inspiration for me to write my own novel. Just because of they have so many, but particularly the Ethics series kind of set me over. That needs to be on the TV. I don't understand why somebody ain't pick it up yet. But Colleen Hoover is my my all-time favorite romance novelist right now. Who else? I read some self-help books. Ayanna Van Zant is one of my favorites. I read a lot of like Oprah magazines, the entrepreneur magazines and stuff like that. So those have been inspiring for different personal reasons in my life, and it just make me just want to be the author that I am, pretty much.
Definitely. Thank you for sharing. And Warnell, did you want to answer this question as well?
Like she said, I'm gonna take it back on her. I just had so many that I lost. But I used to read a lot of like old authors, poets like Maya Angelou and Langston Hughes, and even Dr. Martin Luther King when he wrote his speeches and stuff. So I used to gravitate to those, and not just try to imitate them, but to see what it's like when you write. You got to know your audience, and you got to know what you're writing for. So that's how I used to do it. Then another big part was my mother used to always send me a poem, during the week or a special holiday, even my birthday. So she used to run this theater in DC called the Black Film Festival, and it was very big, and she was a part of it. She was very deep into it, and that would just kept me motivated because she said, "Never give up what you like to do." So that right there stuck into me because I like to do it. I wanted to do something, and I know that I think, and I wanted to change myself and others that are around me. Yes.
Thank you both for sharing. I know there was one more question, but we do want to get to the poetry feedback. So I see that Johnisha, you answered it in the chat. So thank you for that. But yeah, now I will kick it over to Carlos for some closing tips as well as Miro tips.
Yes, thank you, Sophia, and thank you everybody for joining tonight. Before we give you some quick tips and tricks on how to use our digital board called Miro for the poetry feedback, we also want to share a couple of ways that you can get involved. There is a coalition called Building Community, Not Prisons. Prisons working to prevent Congress from funding another federal prison. Join the movement to stop FCI Letcher from being built. There will be a link in the chat that you can click on to. If you want to support our work, You can donate to help us welcome more incarcerated and formerly incarcerated members into the Free Minds family. Again, hit the link that's in the chat for more information. Remember that any little bit helps, even if it's $1, that's just enough to send one letter out to our members. So please, anything helps. So now for our tips for Miro. It's just 5 little things that you have to remember when you again the link will be in the chat. That link will also provide the other links. So these are the 5 quick tips. If we could put on the board real quick. Okay. So the first one being the arrow on top at the left. This opens the door and lets you start writing. You can enlarge the poems with the zoom button at the bottom right of the screen. If it seems blurry, just wait for a little bit. It'll clear up. Back to the left, there's a T. That T is for text. So this allows you to start writing. Just go over to the poem, click after you click the T, and then you're just going to start saying text here. You could scroll to the right, to the left for more poems. And finally, another little tip, make sure that when you give a comment or feedback, that you address the authors by using their first name, and then that you end by using your first name. Again, there are three mirror tables. Each one has different ones. Make sure that you click on each one so you can enjoy all of the poems. The first page that you see right there is where the links to access the other tables is at, where it works best if you are on your computer or your tablet. And if you're using if you're using your phone, we recommend using this Google Doc. That the link is also on that first paper right there, and that link would also be in the chat. If you have any questions or need support, you can call our staff until 8:30 p.m. tonight, and that number is also in that first page that you could reach out to in case you have any questions. Sofia.
Yeah, thank you for that, Carlos. And thank you all so much for coming. We appreciate it so much. Please click the link in the chat to read the poems that are on our virtual tables to continue with the next part of Write Night. Your wonderful feedback is really going to mean so much to our members who are currently incarcerated. Please enjoy the poems, and we look forward to seeing you at our next Write Night. We'll be closing the Zoom momentarily, so please click the link in the chat if you haven't already to begin reading and responding to those poems. Yeah, thank you all again. I can't thank you enough, and have an amazing night.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Anisha. Thank you, Warnell.